All right, everyone. Last night, Rand Paul was apparently attacked in his own home by one Rene Boucher, or Boucher. I don't know how to fucking pronounce his name. It doesn't really matter. It's shit to me. In Bowling Green. It's not 100% clear exactly what caused this. Some people are saying, well, obviously it's Rand Paul, so political motivation would be at the top of their explanation list. Maybe. But it also seems like this individual was also a physician. So maybe it was some work-related disagreement. Like, do they do pro bono stuff at the same clinic? And like, Rand was, Renee's wife was like, "Oh, Rand is like so cute" or something, and he got pissed, so he decided to go tackle him. Now, Rand Paul is fine. He had minor injuries. Apparently, he didn't need to be hospitalized. And hey, if he needs medical help, he's a physician, so it doesn't matter. He can operate on himself. Like that one Russian in the Antarctic that time that had to do like an appendectomy on himself, which is like the most hardcore thing you could possibly imagine. No, let me open myself up here. So Rand's fine. I imagine if he had continued the attack, Rand probably would have punched his lights out anyway. He gets fiery. He's not known as the cowardly type. Anyone associated with Ron or Rand, probably they've got some balls. That's a good thing. And it's good that he's in the Senate, and it's good that he's okay, because I can't imagine how dysfunctional our fucking Congress would be if Rand wasn't there to inject a little bit of sanity into it. Haven't we also, by the way, noticed a significant number of physical attacks on people who are on the right or supposedly far right? So it's like the Steve Scalise shooting and stuff. I think he is fine now and back at work. For a while there, it was touch and go. I think he fell down to critical condition at one point and was fucked up, had to go back to the hospital. I think he got infected or something. People are always yelling how violent and despicable the far right is. Oh, the gun toters, violent Nazis and stuff. Why is it that it always seems to be supposedly very far-right lawmakers are the ones that are getting assaulted? Like the last time, what was the last time that somebody like an Elizabeth Warren or Nancy Pelosi got assaulted? They consider it a big problem when somebody on the right mocks them. Like they come up to them and they make some offhand comment about how dumb they are. And that's considered like a terrible thing. Meanwhile, Rand Paul gets tackled in his own home. Hopefully we find out what the cause was of this problem, and the dude's out on bail, like because Rand wasn't significantly injured. The dude he's out walking free. It always seems to be someone on the right that's getting punched out or something. Then in the same breath that people like an Antifa member, someone on the alt left, they'd say, well, the right is so violent. They actually start chuckling when that sort of thing happens, like, ah ha ha, punch the Nazis. Okay. Hypocrisy, thy name is the American so-called left. It's not really left, it's just authoritarianism in the name of globalism. Like, they become everything that they used to hate and fight against. I can remember when the idea of globalism, we realized that it was abusive, and the left would say, yeah, that's like global, it's corporatist, oligarchic, it's like, they weren't really Christians, so they didn't say like 666 stuff, but they'd say, well, in the New World Order in general, zeitgeist, worldwide conspiracy to enslave people to the oil dollar or something. They used to say all this stuff. I can remember because I used to communicate with thousands of people who, all of which were liberals at the time, who said these sorts of things. It wasn't a small fringe movement, it was the mainstream left at the time saying these things. Now, every time there's violence, it's aimed at somebody on the right. Globalism is something that they applaud for some reason. They have no problem with it. Other than the socialists. Like the fiscal far left doesn't like globalism. The rest of the far left loves it and thinks that you're racist if you don't want it. Thankfully, Rand Paul's okay. I know that's a little bit of a rant, has nothing to do with the event at hand. It's good that he didn't get stabbed or shot or something, because then the best senator would be gone. Because I think Rand, out of all the people in the Senate's my favorite. He's right. It's like Mosh would be another one that I really like. I think these people have common sense. Don't have to agree with them all the time. I think that the half-ass sort of, I think, fourth or fifth ACA reform attempt, I don't think Rand should have tried to stonewall it. Because it's like, it doesn't really matter at this point what the Republicans do on the ACA. They've shot themselves in the foot. They shouldn't even talk about the issue. And it seems like they're letting it go now. And they're just going to put a Band-Aid on a wound again and hobble along. Now, Rand's one of the better people in the Senate. I would have liked if he had been the candidate chosen by the GOP to run for the presidency. I supported Rand Paul originally. When he got shafted, I defaulted to supporting Gary Johnson before I jumped aboard the Trump train. Trump was sort of number 3 in line as far as I was concerned. Rand Paul, for me, would have been the best candidate. Younger, sane ideas, seems to be a staunchly upright individual. No scandals that I know of as far as Rand Paul's concerned. The only problem maybe with him is that sometimes he gets really hot under the collar and he rage quits. Like that time he was doing that live stream towards the end of his primary run, and he was like, "Oh, I don't know why the fuck I'm doing this," and he just sort of turned it off. That was a little bit odd. Not necessarily the greatest debater in the world. But watching Rand get fiery and self-righteous is pretty funny. I hope he runs. I hope in the future, like if Trump backs down, he's like, well, I'm not going to seek another term, fuck you people, or, he gets a second term or he loses or whatever. I hope that Rand runs again. I would love to see Rand Paul presidential candidate. I think it would be good for the country. He's a good, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, one of the few good people actually in the U.S. Congress. Like 90% of them are obviously corrupt, and nobody should approve of them. I can't think of any other incumbents in the Senate that should be reelected. I can't think of one of them. At the point at which Mitch McConnell, by his absence alone, seems sane compared to some of these other people in the Senate, there's a friggin' problem. But we don't know yet exactly what the reasoning was for this attack. It was probably personal. It was probably, Rand looked at my wife's ass, or, Rand stole this medical client from me, or Rand voted for something in the Senate that I didn't like, and maybe on that token it'd be political, but we're not sure yet. That's about all. Peace out.